Discomfort is the price of growth because nothing significant ever happens within the boundaries of ease, and every meaningful achievement asks for a stretch beyond what feels safe or familiar. When you choose to stay in your comfort zone, you protect yourself from immediate pain or risk, but you also close the door on the very experiences that could expand your capacity and reveal your potential, and it is often in the moments of struggle, failure, and unease that the strongest parts of your character are built. When an athlete trains, the burning in their muscles is a sign of strength being developed. When a student wrestles with concepts that feel impossible, the frustration is proof of the mind expanding. When an individual faces rejection, disappointment, or loss, the emotional discomfort becomes the soil in which resilience and wisdom take root. Because growth is not a passive process, it is an active one that challenges, bends, and reshapes you into someone who is not just able to achieve more, but also able to withstand more. And yet it is easy to mistake the presence of discomfort as a warning sign to retreat rather than a signal that you are moving in the right direction, because the body craves safety and the mind craves certainty. But success is only possible when we honor discomfort as a teacher rather than fear it as an enemy. It requires leaning into vulnerability, embracing the unknown, accepting mistakes not as final verdicts but as steps toward mastery, and recognizing that the gap between where you are and where you want to be can only be bridged by persistence in the face of resistance. Discomfort refines ambition. It strips away illusions of overnight achievement. It humbles you when pride grows too loud, and it reminds you that the pursuit of something greater than yourself will inevitably come with moments that test your patience, discipline, and belief in your own worthiness. To grow is to invite friction, to seek the sharp edges that shape you into a version of yourself you might not have imagined, and to walk willingly into situations that make your voice tremble, your hands sweat, or your heart race, because those are the spaces where transformation hides, waiting to meet you if you don't turn away. And in truth, the discomfort does not diminish once you achieve something. It changes form, meeting you at every new level, reminding you that progress is never the elimination of struggle, but the continual willingness to engage with it, to keep evolving, to keep stretching into new versions of yourself, and to recognize that while comfort may give temporary relief, only discomfort has the power to carve out the resilience, strength, and authenticity that lasting growth demands. Failure is a teacher, not a threat, because every struggle and setback carries within it lessons that no book, no speech, and no easy victory could ever provide. And yet so often we see failure as proof of inadequacy rather than evidence of courage, forgetting that to fail is to try, and to try is to step into the unknown where growth is possible. When we stumble, when our plans collapse, when our efforts fall short of the outcome we hoped for, it is easy to feel shame or disappointment. But if we lean in rather than retreat, failure reveals insights about our strengths, our blind spots, our resilience, and our values, guiding us toward a deeper understanding of who we are and what we are capable of becoming. And it is in these moments of broken expectation that creativity is sparked, because failure pushes us to explore alternatives we would never have considered had everything gone smoothly. It teaches patience in a world that glorifies speed. It teaches humility when pride whispers too loudly, and it teaches resilience when life refuses to go according to plan. And those who learn to embrace failure as part of the process are the ones who ultimately discover that falling down is not the end but a beginning, a redirection toward a path more aligned with their true potential. Think of the countless inventors, artists, leaders, and everyday people whose stories of success are not tales of perfection, but chronicles of repeated setbacks met with persistence. Because failure is not a verdict, it is a conversation between you and your effort, reminding you that progress is messy, nonlinear, and often hidden beneath layers of trial and error. Each mistake is a mirror that reflects what needs to change, what needs to be strengthened, what needs to be reimagined. And in that reflection lies the power to rise again with more wisdom and clarity than before. The fear of failure convinces many to stay small, to avoid risk, to settle for less than they are capable of. but those who reframe failure as an I discover that it is not an obstacle, but a stepping stone, not a weight that drags you down, but a force that shapes you into someone stronger. To see failure as a threat is to deny yourself the very experiences that cultivate resilience and courage, while to see it as a teacher is to welcome growth in its rawest, most honest form, because every setback whispers not of defeat but of possibility, urging you to stand back up, to refine your approach, to deepen your commitment, and to realize that the path to anything meaningful is always paved with failures that, when honored, transform into the very foundation of lasting success. Courage over comfort is the principle that true progress is never born out of the illusion of safety, because the things that matter most, the dreams we chase, the changes we long for, the lives we hope to create, cannot be achieved by clinging to what feels easy, predictable, or familiar, and while comfort soothes us temporarily, it also traps us in patterns that keep us small, convincing us that we are safe when in reality we are stagnant. Courage, on the other hand, asks more of us. It demands that we step into uncertainty, take risks that might expose our flaws, and lean into situations that stretch our limits, and though it may come with fear, trembling hands, and doubt that screams louder than confidence, it is the act of choosing courage in those very moments that shifts the trajectory of our lives, because progress is not made when everything feels steady. It is made when we dare to move forward without knowing exactly how it will unfold. Courage asks you to have the difficult conversation instead of staying silent to preserve peace, to take the leap into an opportunity even when failure seems likely, to walk away from what diminishes you even when the unknown terrifies you, and to believe in your worthiness to try again when comfort tells you to quit. It is not about the absence of fear, but about refusing to let fear dictate the boundaries of your life. And the people who change their lives and the lives of others are not the ones who were never afraid, but the ones who felt fear and moved anyway, understanding that comfort may protect them from temporary pain, but it also protects them from lasting transformation. Every act of courage, no matter how small, expands your capacity, strengthens your resilience, and teaches you that you are capable of more than you imagined, while every act of choosing comfort at the expense of growth keeps you tethered to what is familiar, even if it no longer serves you. Comfort is an illusion because it convinces us that safety is the highest goal, but in reality, safety without growth becomes confinement, and the life you long for will always demand bravery in exchange for its rewards. Courage is the decision to show up in vulnerability, to risk rejection, to endure discomfort, to trust that even if you fail, you will rise with more wisdom than before, and to recognize that bravery is not about being fearless, but about giving more value to your dreams than to your doubts. In the end, progress requires us to lean into the sharp edges of life, to resist the pull of easy roads, and to continually choose courage over comfort, because only in that choice do we find the breakthroughs that redefine who we are and what we are capable of becoming. Resilience is built, not born, because no one arrives in this world fully equipped to withstand the storms of life. It is through enduring discomfort, facing challenges, and walking through the valleys of uncertainty that true strength takes shape. And while some may appear naturally tough or unshakable, the reality is that their resilience has been carved out of the trials they have endured, the losses they have grieved, the failures they have survived, and the moments when they had to get back up even though every part of them wanted to stay down. Resilience is not a trait gifted at birth, but a muscle developed over time, strengthened each time we face discomfort and refuse to let it define us. And the truth is that hardship has a way of teaching lessons that comfort never could, stripping away illusions, testing limits, and building the kind of inner strength that cannot be faked, because success is never sustained by talent alone, but by the ability to keep going when circumstances grow heavy, when plans collapse, and when doubt tries to take root. The people who appear strong are often those who have endured seasons of breaking and mending, of rebuilding after loss, of showing up when it would have been easier to hide, and resilience grows in those small, quiet choices to keep moving even without immediate evidence of progress. Every challenge becomes a weight that trains the spirit, every failure a repetition that builds endurance, and every discomfort opportunity to strengthen the core of who you are, because resilience is not about avoiding pain, but about learning to carry it without letting it define your future. It teaches patience, showing you that time is not your enemy but your ally. It teaches adaptability, reminding you that rigidity breaks while flexibility bends and survives, and it teaches hope, not as a naive belief that nothing bad will happen, but as the courageous conviction that no matter what does happen, you have the capacity to face it. Resilience is what allows success to last, because without it, even achievement crumbles under pressure, but with it, you can weather setbacks, disappointments, and unexpected turns without losing sight of your purpose. Enduring discomfort doesn't just build toughness, it builds perspective, teaching you to see obstacles not as permanent roadblocks, but as temporary detours that refine your path, and over time you realize that resilience is not about never falling, but about always rising, stronger and wiser, with the quiet assurance that whatever comes next, you can meet it. And so, resilience becomes less about surviving and more about thriving, not because world has grown easier, but because you have grown stronger, more capable, and more anchored in the knowledge that every discomfort you endure is shaping the strength that sustains your success. Vulnerability opens the door to progress, because when we own our imperfections and embrace risks, we create the conditions for true breakthroughs to happen, and yet so many of us spend our lives trying to hide our flaws, mask our fears, and present an image of perfection that feels safe but keeps us stuck. The truth is that progress is not born from polished surfaces or flawless performances, but from the raw honesty of admitting we don't have it all figured out, from the courage to step forward even when rejection or failure is possible, and from the humility to learn in front of others without shame, because when we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we invite growth, connection, and creativity that cannot emerge from behind walls of protection. Vulnerability means raising your hand to ask the question everyone else is afraid to ask. It means putting your work, your ideas, or your heart into the world knowing it might not be accepted. It means having the difficult conversation that could change everything but also carries the risk of discomfort. And each of these moments, though risky, carries the potential for transformation that safety could never deliver. Breakthroughs happen when we dare to show up fully unarmored, with the understanding that progress will always demand exposure, because it is only by confronting our weaknesses that we learn how to strengthen them, only by admitting our fears that we learn how to move through them, and only by sharing our truth that we discover others who are willing to meet us there. Vulnerability teaches us that perfection is not the pathway to growth, but authenticity is, and that risking failure is not evidence of weakness, but of courage, because progress is not a straight climb, but a winding road filled with setbacks, learnings, and unexpected turns, and the more willing we are to expose ourselves to those realities, the more breakthroughs we experience. When we embrace vulnerability, we stop wasting energy on appearances and start investing in substance. And in doing so, we unlock creativity that thrives in openness, resilience that grows through honesty, and relationships that deepen through shared imperfection. It is in admitting, I don't know, that we learn. It is in saying, I need help, that we grow stronger together. It is in risking, this might fail, that we open the door to innovation, and in each of these acts lies the quiet truth that without vulnerability, progress stalls, but with it, possibilities expand. Though it feels risky to be seen as we truly are, the risk is worth it, because every meaningful advancement, whether in personal growth, relationships, or work, has been born from someone daring to step into the open, to reveal their authentic self, to face uncertainty with trembling hands, and to trust that in the willingness to be vulnerable lies the very key that unlocks breakthrough after breakthrough. Success redefines you because the process of discomfort does more than change what you achieve. It transforms who you are at the deepest level, and while most people believe success is measured by the outcome, by titles, recognition, or accomplishments, the truth is that the most profound impact of success lies in the person you become along the way, shaped by the trials you endured, the fears you confronted, and the resilience you built when things did not go according to plan. Every step into discomfort stretches you beyond the boundaries of who you once were, teaching you patience when you wanted immediacy, strength when you felt fragile, humility when you were tempted to let pride take over, and compassion when hardship reminded you of your own humanity. And these lessons linger long after the applause fades or the goals are met, because the journey requires not just your skills, but your spirit. Success demands sacrifice, and in those sacrifices, you discover what truly matters to you, peeling back layers of illusion to uncover your values, your priorities, and the authentic self that can withstand both failure and triumph. Discomfort breaks down the false identities built on ease and expectation and rebuilds you into someone more grounded, capable, and self-aware. And in this sense, success is not an external prize to be collected, but an internal evolution that changes how you see yourself and the world. You may start the journey with a vision of who you want to be, but by enduring the discomfort along the path, you uncover someone even stronger than you imagined, someone who has learned to rise from setbacks, to stand steady in uncertainty, and to trust their ability to navigate storms without losing their direction. It is not the moment of achievement that defines you, but the countless unseen moments when you chose persistence over quitting, courage over comfort, and faith over fear, because each of those decisions chisels away at the old version of you and reveals the resilience that becomes the foundation of your character. The transformation that happens in the process often outweighs the accomplishment itself, because you realize that the skills, discipline, and strength you built cannot be taken away even if the success itself fades. And this realization is what gives you lasting confidence, the kind that does not depend on outcomes, but on the certainty of who you have become. Discomfort, while painful, is the catalyst that shapes the essence of success, forcing you to grow in directions you might never have chosen on your own. And by the time you reach the destination you once dreamed of, you often find that the real reward is not the achievement, but the person you had to become to get there, a person defined not by comfort, but by transformation, not by what they gained, but by how deeply they changed.